is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Let's go, baby.
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break.
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, November 19th, 2019, Season 15, Episode number 85. Welcome to another edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. It's Gumbo Day. We got a lot of topics to hit. We're going to jump all around, give these guys some questions to answer on the Cowboys. And we want to hear from you guys. You guys give us a call. Number's 888-855-2297. Again, it is 888-855-2297. You can also hit us on Twitter. You can hit my account. It's a little flooded right now, so I'm going to try to get to them. But
why?
Feel free. No, I'm not going to talk. But you can hit me on my Twitter account at Derek Eagleton. I'll take some questions that way as well. Let's jump right in. Let's talk a little bit about the NFC East right now. Cowboys are at the top of the NFC East at 6-4. They face the New England Patriots this week at New England. Philly at 5-5 will be facing Seattle. I've asked this question. I keep asking it every week, and I want to ask it again in this show to start things off. What's your level of comfort as far as where the Cowboys are that they win the NFC East after what happened last week? The Eagles take a loss, Cowboys get a win, and then this week, Cowboys are facing a much tougher opponent. The Eagles still have a tough opponent as well.
You win this game, like I've been predicting for a while, and the Eagles lose to the Seahawks, and I think it's all but clinched.
Really?
Yeah. What do you mean, really?
You just go on the road to the stadium
big.
where nobody wins and beat the best team in the league, and you
Easy
clinch the
peasy.
division. Yeah.
But those two things would happen, then yeah.
You made it seem like I was crazy for saying really. Like, there's a lot more football that has. You have a whole another month.
5-6. It'd be 7-4. You got a 2-game lead on them.
Yeah, but Philly
Oh,
still
you're
plays New
assuming
York,
they're going to lose
twice?
this weekend.
And Washington?
No, I'm saying
And Miami.
I'm not talking.
And Miami?
I'm not talking about Miami's on a roll. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
About just just in general. Those two things have to happen. You lose to Seattle.
You're saying they lose Seattle,
Yeah.
Cowboys win in New England, it's all but done.
Pretty much. No. Tell me that it wouldn't be the case. I mean,
Okay, I will.
Well, actually, I was gonna. That was actually
because-
he pushed us right into the next question because I was gonna say, okay, let's look at what the Cowboys have here over the next 5 weeks.
You just beat the champs.
I get it. They're at New England.
But then they turn
have
around
a
and
7-3
lose to the
Buffalo
Bears.
team
Like, that's what
at
the
home,
Cowboys do.
And then they go to Chicago, who's 4-6. That's the easiest of these 5.
Yeah, got
then
that.
they play the Los Angeles Rams, who are now 6-4, and then they play the Philadelphia Eagles at Philly. That's now 5-5.
So
That's a pretty tough stretch there, right?
let's like really walk through it. So let's say the Eagles lose to the Seahawks and the Cowboys beat the Patriots. So 7-4, 5-6. Then the Cowboys play on Thanksgiving against a Bears team that would be in the playoff. Bills
Buffalo.
team that would be in the playoffs if the season ended today. They're 7-3, I believe.
7-3.
Not saying the Cowboys can't beat them, but that's not an easy
It's
game.
not an easy game.
Chicago in December. It's a tough thing to do. I don't care how good or bad the Bears are. Josh
Split 'em.
McCown. Oh, okay, even still.
split those then.
8-5. The Eagles beat the Dolphins
Okay.
to climb to 6-6.
Okay.
The Eagles will beat the Giants at home to climb to 8-6. So then the Cowboys
They just get to 8-6.
7-6. I'm
Okay.
sorry. So the 8-5, 7-6.
Okay.
Then the Cowboys play the Rams,
Okay.
and the Eagles play the Redskins. That's a win. That's a win of all wins.
And
So
It'll come down to the Eagles and the Cowboys.
8-6. Even if the Cowboys beat the Bears, then it's 8-6 versus 9-5, and the Cowboys go to the link.
Right.
I don't.
So the Eagles are still right there, and it all comes down still to that game.
And this is all predicated on the Cowboys beating the Patriots in Gillette Stadium, which I'm not saying they can't do, but would be very, very impressive.
Right.
So, and really, I don't think you're silly for thinking that. But even if what you suggest happens on Sunday, Cowboys win, Eagles lose, I don't think the NFC East is remotely close to being decided.
The thing that you put in there was the Eagles getting hot, getting on a roll, and all that. And I understand that their schedule is not. I mean, it is favorable for them, but they would be a 5-6 football team going in there and trying to do that. And what they have shown is over the the last, I would say, 10 years or so. I understand they won a Super Bowl, but they will tank towards the end of the year. They've done that for the most part. So I just don't think that they'll. I mean, if they got down 2 games, that's going to be really hard for them to come back because they're going to have to basically run the table to get there. Now, that schedule shows that they could, but they haven't proven that they could do that.
All right, so let's look at those 5 games. Those next 5 games the Cowboys have: at New England, against Buffalo, at Chicago, against the Rams, and at Philly. How many of those games do you think realistically the Cowboys win, Danny?
How many games is that?
That's 5.
5.
The next 5 games, how many do you think they win?
I'm going between 2 and 3. I think this could be the time they beat the Rams. And for some reason, just for following the Cowboys and being a fan, I really wouldn't be surprised if they go in and they beat New England. It seems like a very Cowboys thing to do.
I heard somebody say it on the radio. A national guy say it on the radio. That would be such a Cowboys thing to do.
It sounds like a Cowboys thing to do. I don't know yet between Bills and Bears. Mm-hmm. That's where I think they really could split. So I'm going to say 2 to 3.
2 to 3. Dave?
I say they win 3 of those. I think I'm not going to pick them to beat the Patriots. I hate to spoil the Friday show. Sorry. I know it would be a Cowboys thing to do, but also, I don't know. That's like snowballing into the narrative where it's like, somebody's like, oh, that would be such a Cowboys thing to do, and it's funny, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, and
maybe.
Like you're not even really thinking about the actual matchup. You're just like, well, that's what they do, so that's what they're going to do, and I'm not ready to say that. I think so. No, I don't think they beat the Pats.
But
they can beat the Bills at home. They can beat the Bears, and between the Bills and the Rams, like they'll split those 2 games, and then the Cowboys own the East. That's the thing is like as middling and unpredictable as I think this team has been, the Cowboys own the East. I have every confidence that they can go up to Lincoln Financial Field and beat the Eagles.
It seems like that's what it's going to come down to.
And that's,
right?
I mean, I would bet a paycheck that the East will be decided by that game.
All right, Nick.
Well, 3. If they win 3 games, I mean, I don't know why he stopped at 5 because it goes to 6. And
does it?
Well, that's the thing. If they go 3-2, they'll go 4-2. If they go 2-3, they'll go 3-3. They're going to probably win that last game against the Redskins.
And really, it was only because I wanted to look at the teams that are the most. That this 5-game stretch, you're looking at teams that are all good teams. Maybe some not playing as well as others, like the Bears, but they're still a good team.
But just remember, though, that you're talking about the Eagles having these games that they're definitely going to win. Well, if that's the case, the Cowboys have got that one too. So
that last one, yeah.
10-6. If they go 3-2, like Dave just suggested in that 5 games, they'll probably beat the Redskins.
4-2.
That's 10-6. You're looking at a 5-5 Eagles team right now that they have to, if they run the table, they're gonna have to run the table to get to 11-5 to obviously beat the Cowboys there. Tiebreaker wise, though, if they just finish 10-6 and one of those losses is not against the NFC East, like if they lose to the Seahawks and then run the table, they would probably win the division, right? Because of the tiebreaker would go head to head, which would be split. Division record, which would be split.
Same, yeah.
And then I think the NFC East record, and then they're probably going to have that.
You mean NFC record?
NFC, I mean
right.
NFC.
The Cowboys have lost a lot of NFC games.
Yeah. And they're going to have
outside of the NFC East,
and they're going to have to come, beat Seattle. Well, I mean, if they lost to Seattle, I don't know. We're getting ahead, but this is a chance to really. This is the team that the Eagles could lose to, and the Cowboys. If you beat the Patriots, then. Parade talks are going to come back up again. Like, where are we going to do this? So,
okay. So besides the Philly game, which game do you think is the most important game for them to win? Of those 5 I mentioned,
the Eagles.
I'm sorry, I was not meaning the Patriots. I was meaning to say besides the Eagles game. We all know how important that game is. Besides the Eagle game, is there another game here that you're like, they really need this game for whatever reason? It could be because of tie breaks. It could also be because of just mentally, if they lose this game, it would be so devastating for them to lose, right? So it could be whatever reason. What do you think is the most important game for them to win outside of the Philadelphia game?
Maybe the Rams, just because they've run all over the Cowboys however many times they've played the last year and a half.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it's also fun when you get to see the comparisons of quarterbacks. I like seeing when we play the Eagles and Dak with Wentz and Dak with Goff, and so I think that could be an important game for the win, for the mental aspect of getting over that hump of just getting destroyed by the Rams whenever you've played them. This
is going to sound counterintuitive, but as long as they don't, they could lose these next 2 games and fall to 6-6, and that would make them 1-3 against the AFC East, which is bad. But as long as they don't lose any more NFC games, I don't care. I mean, I don't care is a strong way to phrase it, but the NFC is more important. The Bears are probably out of it if I had to guess, but the Rams are right there in the wild card hunt. And again, your NFC record. I mean, if you can beat those 2 teams, you salvage that, throw in division wins against the Redskins and Eagles. I mean, if I had to pick, I want NFC wins over everything else.
I mean, as silly as it sounds, it's the Redskins, really. Because that's what's going to keep your division record the way it is. I mean, that's one they should be able to win. But I'm just saying those, it's as important. We're kind of saying it's easy, but it is definitely important.
Definitely, yeah, I got it.
And you know what Danny said, I agree with that with the Rams. You could make the case with all of them, really. With the Bears, you can have a long weekend after that. You need to go out and get that win. If it doesn't go down like I am predicting against the Patriots, if they do lose to the the best team in the history of football and lose that game, coming back in 4 days and beating the Bills and finally beating a team with a winning record, because they have not. Yeah. They have not beaten a team right now with a winning record, and they need to do that. And Bills would be sitting there, and it would be a good win. It's always good
on the biggest stage, Thanksgiving.
Sure,
at home.
I mean, you don't want to lose to the Bills. You don't want to lose to Cole Beasley coming in there and saucing it up on you.
Got a rap song for you about it. You want to hear it? Here you go. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back from our break, Dave, did you give yours?
Yes. You said win the NFC games.
Yeah, gotcha.
Win them.
All right, so we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. I want to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott and whether he should legitimately be in the MVP conversation. And if not, what could happen down the stretch that could maybe make him a part of that conversation. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their Deal Score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this,
Ready? Blue 20!
download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheer.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's jump in. We're going to talk about Dak Prescott now. Right now, he's leading the league in passing yards with 3,221. To me, having, I think, obviously the best career season in his career. But I also think that if you start comparing it across the board to the other quarterbacks that are in the league, and certainly those that are being discussed as MVP candidates, I think he makes a favorable comparison in a lot of categories. The one that's noticeably not there is number of wins for the teams, which quarterbacks get saddled with. So, question for you guys is, do you think that Dak should legitimately be in the MVP conversation?
No. Not right now. They're 6-4. They're barely above 500, and they haven't had those signature wins. They hasn't been clutch in the fourth quarter. They've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat, and they haven't beaten the teams that they need to beat. So, and I think he's got more help around him than some of those other guys. Having a great year, Pro Bowl year for sure. I wouldn't say he's the MVP of the league.
See, that's actually, I think that's my point that I keep coming down on is like there's never any nuance when you try to have these arguments because yes, I think he should be in the conversation. No, I would not vote for him to win MVP. I think Trey Wingo said it last night on whatever their show is after Monday Night Football, where he's like, he's on the short list of guys to talk about when you're talking about MVP.
He's going to the New York for the Heisman.
That's a great analogy.
He's going there.
I would be happy to invite him to New York. I'm not going to vote for him to win it. Not yet, at least. I mean, for my money, Russell Wilson. It's not even, and you make a great point, Nick, that look at the help. I mean, Dak's got Pro Bowlers at 3 of his 5 line spots. He's got Zeke. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got a ton of help, whereas Russell Wilson is, oh my God.
And
he's just he's just pulling rabbits out of his hat every week.
That's why I don't know if I would, for that reason, and I look at help and all that, for what Lamar Jackson is doing in Baltimore and just kind of elevating them to
that too,
he would probably get my vote there. And I heard the guy on TV last night, or might have been Booger McFarland, that he kept pushing for Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas
is having a phenomenal season too.
And when you can do that with different quarterbacks, that right there just proves that you're the guy. So that's a good point too.
But that's the thing. But he can still be in the conversation. That's the minute you say he should be in the conversation, people think you're advocating for him to win. That's not what I'm saying. Not yet, at least.
No, but you look at his numbers, and he's having an incredible career or season.
He's leading the league in passing yards. He's out of his mind. And you're right. He hasn't done enough to win them the games that they've won, and he hasn't pulled any of those really tight ones out of the fire.
Can you fast forward me a whole week? Or not even a week, Monday morning.
See how he does, yeah.
If he outduels Tom Brady and he throws for 300 yards and they win and
on that defense,
in that game,
yeah.
Then now they're 7-4. They just beat the Patriots.
Let's have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can talk about it.
Not only that, but then he turns around and his next 2 games after that are the only game on. Thanksgiving, everybody in the world will be watching. Thursday Night Football, Bears.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like not everybody in the world watches Thursday Night Football, but it's the only game on Thursday night. He has every opportunity in the world to really state his case.
All right, so I'm going to throw this question at you. We did this back during training camp, Danny. You might not have remembered this because you weren't with us at that time. But here's what we talked about. We went through a whole list of quarterbacks in the NFL, and we said better or worse than Dak, right? I want to say, you guys may correct me on this, I want to say Dak ended up somewhere around 12 to 15. Is that an accurate statement?
It was somewhere between.
I thought 9 was the answer.
Was it?
9 or 10. 9
or 10 better than him?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was 9 or 10 that were definitively better.
And then he was in that next.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's my question. At this point, where does Dak go? We don't have to go through all the quarterbacks. Has he now gotten to top 5, in your opinion, in the NFL? And we have to go with just this year. I'm not talking about career because obviously then you start pulling in guys that have had long careers, have won Super Bowls, all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about this year. Is he a top 5 quarterback? How he's played in the NFL?
I'm not ready to put him in the 5.
Give me 5 that are better.
Pat Mahomes, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson.
Drew Brees this year?
If we're playing one game with the universe on the line, yeah. That's when I think about this, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
One game to win the Super Bowl. You're picking like it's a playground. One game.
Okay.
I'll take Drew Brees right now.
If that's the case, you're probably still going to take Brady, right?
No,
but he hasn't had that kind of year.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I would.
Matt Ryan, guys like that. That's where it gets tough. Really, what you're asking is he going to be in the Pro Bowl? Is he an All-Pro?
Kind of. What I'm really trying to figure out is, based on how he's played this year, is he a top 5 caliber quarterback?
Well,
that's really what I'm asking.
Who's been the best quarterback this year?
Lamar Jackson.
Russell Wilson.
Those
one of the two.
Yeah, what about Watson?
That's 1 and 2.
Watson's up there.
Forgot about Deshaun.
But I
he
think
should be
Dak's
up there.
Playing better than him. I think.
Overall, I would say they're about the same in my opinion. They're about at the same level in my opinion.
Okay, so we won't put them very top right now.
And that's even I don't put Lamar Jackson definitively above Dak.
Trend here?
Just.
I've heard that before too. There is a changing dynamic to the quarterback position in the NFL, no doubt about it.
And also, I looked at this the other day. Top 5 offenses in the league. Top 5 offenses in the league have athletic mobile quarterbacks. They happen to be African American, but I'm just saying Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott.
The position is changing.
Yeah, those guys right there. Now, they're throwing the ball. It's not like Lamar is a different beast altogether, but I don't think it's a coincidence that those 5 guys are
mobile.
They're mobile, but I mean, Mahomes is getting it done with his arm, and so is Dak right now, really. So
and Russell as well. Like
Russell, yeah.
Russell's probably the smartest quarterback that I've. I mean, he is just so smart in how he plays between the run, when he runs and when he doesn't, how he gets down. Like he is just a phenomenally smart quarterback.
Probably your 5 right there, right?
Yeah. You mentioned Matt Ryan, but that's okay. Lamar Jackson, Matt Ryan, Deshaun Watson. Like I know he's hurt, but Matt Stafford. Like all of those guys are really great quarterbacks that I would not definitively take over Dak right now.
There's a guy in Green Bay we're leaving out too.
Oh, I kind of said him a little earlier.
He's up there. He should be up there.
Rodgers.
When we were talking about when Dave was saying, those clutch moments, one game on the line.
Yeah.
I would take Rodgers.
Brady. Rodgers, Brady,
if you're a
Breeze,
Cowboys fan, you can't help but do that, right?
Mahomes, Wilson. I think those are the only 5 that I'm definitively ready to say. And take into account the fact that Brady's 41, Dak is 26.5. Like that's obviously important. I certainly, if I'm building a team, I wouldn't take Tom Brady over Dak Prescott. Not even close.
Okay, so that being said, if we all agree that he's in that 6 to 8 range, right? If we can agree on that right now, based on where he is this season.
Top 10 for sure.
I personally said before the season, not having a contract doesn't really change anything. Ultimately, the amount of money he was going to get is what he's going to get, both on the Cowboys side or on his side. I don't think he loses value. I don't think he necessarily gains value. But the caveat that we're now saying is that he's playing at a level where at least people are having the conversation about him as an MVP candidate.
Right.
Has he earned some money here? In your minds, would you be if you were making that decision, would you be willing to pay him more money than you were willing to pay him 3 months ago?
I would say yes. And when I see that, I see kind of what we saw in this last game specifically is when you don't have the run game, he can make the passing game work. And that was not consistent last year. And so I think seeing that jump from last year to this year and seeing that he can really carry this offense when he doesn't necessarily have Zeke to rely on to get the run game going for whatever reason that could be. That's why I think he's more deserving now than he was 3 months ago because we've seen he can make it work.
Well, let me ask you this question real quick before you do that. I want to ask you this question. Is that a situation, though, that maybe he's getting it to work because attention's being more paid to the running game? And if teams did the flip and said, okay, we're going to play more coverage, could he still be able to move the offense if he didn't have a running game or if he's facing a team that was going to play a lot more coverage?
Yeah,
because there's a difference there, right?
But then he's still the quarterback that's handing the ball off to Zeke, and Zeke's the guy running it and all that. I mean, it is a classic pick your poison type of offense that they've got, and right now they're killing him.
But when you start talking about a guy like a Russell Wilson, if we're going to talk about categories of quarterback, the difference with Russell Wilson is he doesn't have a big-time running back. I mean, he has some good running backs. He doesn't have a big-time running back, and he doesn't have huge receivers. Like, he's got some good ones, not great receivers. So you look at it from that standpoint, and he's able to make that offense go. So you can pick your poison, but at the end of the day, that quarterback has the ability to beat you no matter what.
I'm not trying to make him a higher paid quarterback than Russell Wilson because he hasn't done what Russell has done in the postseason at all.
Right.
I don't know how his agents can even argue that. They will somehow, but I don't think they can.
Well, that's where
agents do.
That's where it comes in, though. Is I don't really feel much differently about it, and I think that probably depends on where you were 3 months ago.
Yeah.
3 months ago, I said Dak's going to get paid at or near the top of the market just because he's the next quarterback that's up, and that's how this works.
Does it though? Because Goff got a new deal. Wentz got a new deal. They were not at the top of the market. They were around that 32 range.
I said at or near. They come in at like third and fourth. Like Russ is at 35, and I think Ben is slightly below that. Keep in mind, Ben's deal is a lot different. It's like a 2-year deal because he's much older. So in terms of like young guys, Dak certainly, just by nature of economics, he would have come in above Goff and Wentz. Like if he had signed in August, he would have been above those guys. So I never had any beef with that. Now, if you're one of those people that was like, he needs to settle for 28 or 30 because that's who he is and he needs to shut up and be happy about it and blah, blah, blah. If you're one of those people, then he's absolutely lost or gained money over the last 3 months.
Okay, so go ahead.
Now, do I think from where I was thinking like, somewhere between 32 and 34, Do I think he has earned more money to the point where now we're talking about like topping Russell Wilson, hitting the 40 mark that we all said was a joke? I want to see how this plays out.
Would you give him 35 or 36
right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I probably would, but I want to see.
That's the argument, though.
I want to see where the season goes. I want to see him do what he did against Detroit against great teams, and I want to see him will this team deep into the playoffs. Not because nobody else around him is any good, but because he's that much better.
Elevate your teammates around you.
Elevate the team to a level the Cowboys haven't been to. Get him to the NFC Championship game, throw in for 350, 400. You can have 40 if you want it.
Okay, I will say this. Like.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. If you look at his trajectory, and we've talked about this a lot with Dak, from where he started to where he is now, every year he gets better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And you look at guys like Russell Wilson, they'll start off their career, and they may be in a situation where the team is really focused on having a great run game, focused on having a really good defense, and at some point it starts to flip. We may be right now witnessing that flip. That at some point, a year, 2 years from now, the Cowboys have to make the decision because all the money comes due that, hey, maybe we can't invest as much as we invest in our offensive line or in our running back position. Maybe we need to really just focus on the fact that we're going to have a great quarterback. And he's starting to look more and more like at some point he may be that caliber of player. So getting him at 35 right now may actually end up being a bargain for you if he continues along this trajectory. We don't know that, but if he continues along this trajectory.
But that's why a deal is probably not going to get agreed to right now. Like,
true.
I mean, the Cowboys might be like, yeah, okay, we'll pay you 34, 35 right now. And he's like, yeah, I know you will, but
I want more.
I want more. And I got 6, 7, maybe more games to prove that I'm worth it.
So things did change. And I didn't personally think things would change much during the season, but I do think the way he's played, he certainly thinks, I'm sure his representatives thinks that things have changed and they will be negotiating under that.
I think his floor has risen since the season started. Because again, in August, we were probably saying somewhere between 30 and 33. And now I'm like 34 is the absolute lowest I could ever see, but it'll probably be higher than that.
Yeah, because he's outplaying the two guys that got those deals that they're waiting. It's
drastically.
Wentz is not Russell. It's
well,
Wentz and Goff.
Yeah,
those are the two guys that he's playing and outplaying right now.
Right. All right, we're going to take our final break. We will come back. Let's get some questions. 888-855-2297. We'll be right back. This is The Break.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheer.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their deal score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this,
Ready? Blue 20.
download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Hey Cowboys Nation, this season when the Cowboys win, you get to experience the sweet taste of victory because if the Cowboys win, the next day Dunkin' is offering a free medium hot or iced coffee. So don't just celebrate the Cowboys' success from the sidelines, head to Dunkin' and treat yourself to real victory because this season Cowboys fans aren't only winning on game day, they're winning the next day too with a free medium coffee. Cowboys Nation runs on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Back to The Break.
All right, you need to come out to the Star on Sunday.
Yep.
Especially when you find out who the host is.
Yep.
Who?
Danny Sarek.
Oh, our very own Danny Sarek.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So she just found out she's hosting it. You need to find out how to get here. I'm just kidding. She found out about an hour ago. Dallas Cowboys Watch Party presented at 8 by AT&T on Sunday, November 24th. It's going to be a festive game day atmosphere on the Tostitos Championship Plaza at the Star in Frisco as the Cowboys take on the New England Patriots. Admission and parking are free. Visit thestarinfrisco.com. 100% chance of rain. Just kidding. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Don't joke.
I'm just
kidding.
kidding.
And I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this on air, but I'm going to say it anyway just so fans know. So I might get a call after this. But from what I hear, they're actually going to make this thing really, really cool. They're going to try to recreate all of the elements that they put. If anybody's ever been to the AT&T Stadium for games, all the elements that they put into the game really makes it a lot of fun, between the big board and the kind of stuff they put on the board, and how they have these special sounds for certain things that happen in the game. You know, the howl whenever Van Der Esch does something special. They're going to do a lot of those kinds of elements. They're going to have a lot of people like DCC and R&B dancers, and I mean, just the whole nine. It is going to be a pretty festive atmosphere. So if you got kids, especially, like for adults, sometimes you just want the game. But if you got kids and they're into it and they need the extra excitement for them to get into it, like, this is going to be a really, really cool way to watch a game if you're not at the stadium, which obviously when we're on the road, you're not at the game. So I think it's really cool. If I were here, I would probably get my kids and force them to come out here with me to watch it. But I do think it'll be a cool event if you get a chance to come check it out, because it'll be pretty cool. All right. Let's get back in. Let's get some questions. We got some phone calls. The number's 888-855-2297. We got a call from Kyle in Austin. Kyle, what up?
How you today?
Hey.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm a long-time listener and big fan of all the shows. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
It makes the drive to work every day a whole lot easier.
We appreciate it.
And I will say this, Dak's playing well. I don't think he's the MVP as of this point. There's some games that he's made some mistakes, and we went down to the New Orleans game, with the Star Sports Tours. Put a plug in for those guys. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But he has got to – there's just a couple mistakes that he makes, and I think as he progresses, he will be there. But I don't think he's at that MVP yet, as of yet. And they built a team around him that is a Super Bowl contending team. And some of those other guys deserve some effect. Russell Wilson doesn't have that. That's for sure. And Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that. So I'd have to put those guys, even Lamar Jackson, higher than him on the MVP talk.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't disagree.
We don't disagree at all there. But being in the conversation is good. That's where you want your quarterback to be. The one thing that I think that the Cowboys need to do better, and Dak, this goes with Dak, they have got to figure out ways to pass the ball from the 7-yard line, from the 9-yard line, from the 3-yard line. Because if they're not going to be able to run it in, they still have to figure out ways to get that blocked better and scheme it open. Last night you watched the Chargers. They went for 2, down 9. Don't understand that. I didn't think that was a good idea with a minute to go in the third quarter, down 9. Because if you don't get that, then now you're guaranteeing that you have to go down twice and score. But they drew up a play that they probably knew was going to work 1,000%, and it did. And the tight end was wide open. Mm-hmm. Or what? Maybe it wasn't a tight end. Yeah, it was. But I'm just saying, they've got to do better with passing the ball in there, and I think that goes with Dak and that goes with Kellen Moore and all that. That's the one knock, I think, because when you get down there and you're not going to run it in from the 4-yard line on 3rd and goal, they haven't proven that they can do that.
And the beauty is they have the talent on the field to really be able to do some interesting scheme things. When you start thinking about all the different parts they could use between Pollard and Zeke and Dak being able to run versus throw, and then the receivers that you have, and then the tight end, like they have lots of options to where they can create these interesting scenarios where defenses really have to kind of choose which way they're going to go, and in making a choice, something's going to come open, right? You're right. They're going to have to just figure out how to use those things and how to have what they do this week build on what they can do next week and the week after and the week after, because that's how you ultimately get people to bite on things you want to do. You want to be able to do.
All right,
let's take another call. We got a call from Bobby in Oklahoma. Bobby, what up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I wanted to quickly tell you about 2 or 3 things I'm expecting Sunday and want your opinion on. Knowing the team and the coach we're going to play, I think the number one thing is they will figure out a way to take advantage of our poor special teams. I don't know if it'll be a turnover, if it'll be a muff, if it'll be a return, but Bill Belichick is just too good at exploiting your weakness. And along that line, I think I would expect that it's out of their norm, and I would expect a heavy run game of power. Dallas has had problems stopping that this year, and until they show they can stop it, Bill Belichick has proven that he will continue to do something until you stop it. And then I'm worried about some of those iffy throws that Dak makes, like the one that Slay missed on the interception. They got too good at cornerbacks that won't miss those. So I'm just worried about coaching and discipline in this game above all else. I'm just wondering your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I watched that game. We were flying back. We got to watch some of the Eagles-Patriots game, and they just don't have – they just make smart plays. I mean, they are a smart football team. They don't beat themselves. And
they don't miss opportunities.
They don't. And one thing that I watched in that game is every time the Eagles, even when they caught the ball, man, those guys are all over them. They cover really well. So, yeah, those corners, is it McCourty and Gilmore? Are those the two corners?
And then, well, they have a McCourty at safety, too, right?
Both the brothers are there.
They have
the twin brothers, yeah.
But those corners are good. And, Slay's good. They got fortunate there.
Now, you listen to Amari talk after the game. He said he knew he wasn't going to be able to get that ball because of the trajectory. I mean, your eyes tell you something different because it looked like it went straight through his hands. But he said, based on the trajectory, he didn't think he had a shot to make that play.
Garrett was kind of saying that yesterday, too. The way he had his body turned, with Dak facing,
Yeah, Amari was saying there's no way he could have made that play. He didn't think. That's why he knew it would get to him. But, who knows?
The cliche with the Patriots is that they are, it really is a cliche, but it's true, is like they're going to take away the best thing you do and make you beat them another way. I'm curious what that means.
Yeah. What do they think?
Are they going to load up on Ezekiel Elliott? Are they going to just go out of their way to double Amari Cooper and make the other receivers step up the way they did against Detroit? Which it's a little bit harder for a quarterback, but are you going to clog and cover and just not give Dak any throwing lanes? Like, what do the Patriots think is the Cowboys' best bet to beat them? And I don't necessarily know.
I will say this. The one thing you seem to notice watching the Patriots is it's not like other teams where they come in with their game plan and that's what they're going to do, or maybe even just do that for a half. They adjust, it seems like, from series to series. So the first series, it could be, hey, we noticed the Cowboys love to run on their first series. We're going to stop the run and make them do something else. Hey, we noticed by the time they figure out the run isn't working, they start going to Amari. So the second series, we're going to stop Amari. I just think this coach is on a whole different level when it comes to how he prepares his team and how they morph game to game and within games to what they do. I mean, how often do you see teams that go from 3-4 to 4-3 in games? Like, they do that kind of stuff.
These guys run like a 1-6-4
it's
half
crazy.
the time.
It is crazy.
And it goes against what Jason Garrett's philosophy is.
Right.
I mean, that's, that philosophy of we do what we do, that gets your ass kicked against guys like this because he's like, please do what you do because I fixed it. I know how to beat it. And if you're just going to be hell-bent on doing that, then you're not going to win. Now, I know that it's a little bit more than that. The Cowboys have made adjustments. You can't say that they don't. They're one of the best teams in the third quarter this year. They come out of halftime. They've been making adjustments. But it's going to be on a different level here. And I think David makes a great point. Like that, I'm sure Belichick, they have an answer. But if you say, well, we can't let Dak beat him, we're going to have to make sure that he doesn't get that. Well, that's kind of what the Cowboys have wanted all along.
Yeah.
I also like that point of the phone call about special teams.
Yes.
I don't think we've talked enough about how inconsistent special teams has been, both when they've been returning and when they've been punting.
So what do you think is the biggest problem for special teams right now? You can throw out punt returns, you could throw out field goals, you could throw out coverage units. What do you think is the biggest challenge?
Here's something I wonder about. I want to clarify this too. Thing about Tony Pollard. Somebody actually asked Garrett about it yesterday, and he clarified. He had two really memorable kick returns. He messed up the opening kick. He tried to, the kick after the Lions touchdown. He sort of tried to kneel on the half-yard line and realized he
didn't quite know
that.
what he wanted to do.
But the second one in the fourth quarter was actually a great play by Tony. Like, he played that the way he was supposed to. They were basically trying to have their kick and eat it too. They didn't want to run a full hands team, but they didn't want to run a true kickoff team. So they basically were like, just get up on the 5, and if it goes over your head, then...
Did you say kick and eat it too?
Yeah, he did. You didn't get that?
I
thought you did it on purpose.
I said cake.
Oh, you said kick.
You absolutely said kick.
That would have been.
That's why I giggled.
That's a Dave thing.
That is such a Dave thing. But he did it without even pausing. Sometimes you'll pause so you can catch it, but he didn't. So
I'm not as clever as y'all think I am. I didn't do that on purpose.
Okay, it was good.
Either way, it went over his head and just took a fantastic bounce. I mean, 9 out of 10 times that goes through the end zone, and it's not a big deal. The main point, though, is I wonder if the Patriots see that and try to exploit a rookie running back's decision-making process. Like, sky the ball and try to have it bounce inside the 5. Try to make him make a judgment on whether or not he needs to come out to field it. I wonder if that could bite them.
And that's the kind of stuff that Belichick does. Like, he looks for those kinds of sometimes weaknesses that other people don't really recognize, and he says, I'm going to test this. I'll just test it, and let's see what happens. And sometimes it pays off big dividends for them. I mean, I think they're going to be going for the ball after Zeke had that fumble last week. They're going to be looking for opportunities. There's been 2 games this year, games where Zeke's giving it up. I think they look at that and say, hey, there's an opportunity for us to get turnovers. And this defense is really good at getting turnovers.
And the start of the game. We've seen, so many slow starts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think, injuries have certainly hurt that special teams. It always does. I mean, that's where the trickle down is, when you've got backups that now have to play and start, and then all of a sudden you have backups in special teams, and that's where the kind of the confusion comes into play. So it's not an excuse. That's what good teams have. They figure out ways to do that. But I think injuries by far have been a contributing factor to the special teams issues. But doesn't matter. No one cares. You got to clean it up this week. And
they should have Heath back, so that's nice.
But kick the ball out of the end zone. I mean, kick it out of the end zone, and the easier said than done, especially outside. But they're going to have to do that. I mean, this guy can make a 63-yard field goal without a tee. He needs to be able to get that ball out and not make it an issue.
And maybe when it might snow. It might be snowing at this game. I don't know if y'all have looked at the forecast. It's like
Is it?
It won't be at the watch party.
Thank you, Danny. Well,
I don't know.
Well, we wish
Danny
we were
wins.
there. Snow is in the forecast in Foxborough. There's a low of 26. I don't know if it will be snowing during the game. The point being, I don't think that I would try very many super long field goals in these elements. That's what I was getting at.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's been, one of those things we'll see in pregame warmups, and I'm sure one way will be different than the other. But yeah, it's been a lot of different things with the special teams unit. It's been the punt. It's been punt coverage. It's
you have to wonder how much is the execution or just communication.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's been a major issue. I mean, obviously in the last couple of weeks we've talked about that a lot. I think is mostly communication, but something's not working.
Sometimes when you keep these players in the as your third team, whatever, receiver, tight end, lineman, whatever, you're keeping them for their ability to play that position, but they become a liability when you have to play them on special teams, and that's been something that it's always a tough balance. Is this guy going to be on the team because of special teams, or is he on the team because in 2 or 3 years we think he's going to be a really good player at this position? But right now we got to have him play special teams.
People used to get so mad because it seemed like when Rich Bisaccia was here, he had like 7 guys on the team were just here to play special teams, and it used to aggravate people. But their special teams were pretty good.
Right.
Yep. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. Back tomorrow for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Danny Sarek. I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!